Sizing is actually a production thing when it comes to fashion. All brands use different sample sizes. They do different heights. Like, it is ridiculous to think when I was doing fashion, I was so beholden to extra small. Something in my mind was like, oh, a medium is not my size and I'm not a medium. And it's like this personal thing, and it's not an attack, and it's your sense of style has a lot to do with your psychology and how you feel about clothes, what clothes represent to you, how you like feel and experience them is actually a huge part of what convinces you to keep buying what you're buying and what you're not buying. Yeah, letting it go, because you wouldn't step into the world of larges if you were always in this mindset. Sometimes the way that a look should look is that this needs to be a large. It's not supposed to be an extra small.
Yeah. Welcome to KOOMI Conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. For anyone meeting you for the first time, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Honey. I'm a stylist here in Vancouver, and I basically help people get aligned with their fashion goals.
Okay, and just so the audience can maybe connect with you a little bit better, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I have a pretty untraditional background to getting into the creative field. So I always believed that I was going to be a lawyer, and so spent a majority of my high school years prepping for that path. And then I got to university and redirected a little bit and got to travel. Was really lucky. I went all over Europe, and like my fashion sense has always been there, and I've always loved fashion and kind of cultivating looks. I always say that I've been a curator my whole life, so I love curating in a city. I love going to coffee shops and just making my life feel as spectacular as I can, and that kind of bled into fashion. I never thought I could ever be a creative because of the path that immigrant parents put out for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, pursuing the job market, as we all know, is very tough. And I was just like, I have a year, like, let me just try to do something in fashion. And if it doesn't work out, it's not really a loss. Looking for work anyway. And then I did a creative styling concept, and then ended up doing really well on social media. And then my path to the creative world started.
Okay, awesome. And you said immigrant parents. Where do your parents?
So where are you from? I'm East African, so we immigrated from Eritrea.
Okay, cool. Nice. And KOOMI's tagline is guidance, beauty, and belonging. Which of those three words feel most present in your life and work right now?
Probably guidance. I feel like I've always been the youngest in every room that I've been in. And in a funny way, you'd think I would have the least amount of guidance to give. But being an older sister, you, as anybody knows who's the oldest sibling, are embodied personality of responsibility. So expectations and all that. So guidance is something that I feel most resonated to, because I feel like in my life I have to be a leader in everything I do. So that kind of like resembles the guidance that I have to take to give other people, like my siblings, my family, and my friends.
So we're sitting here in the city of Vancouver, and it's 2026. What feels unique to you about building a beauty and creative career in this city at this moment?
So people always ask me like, oh, why do you go to LA? Why do you go to New York? Why do you go to Toronto? Like, that's really where the fashion hub is.
Yeah.
But I think there's always something beautiful to a city that is underestimated in a way. I think Vancouver has so much greatness to it that we don't really get to tap in, because there is such a negative stereotype around it and what it offers, and it's boring. But to be honest, boring. Yeah. To be honest, for me, again, because of my like economics background, it made sense. I always said that if you could produce a product and create a demand for something that people don't know if they need, you could be successful. So oversaturation is a real thing. Toronto is quite saturated. New York is super saturated. LA as well. So I wanted to give a product like styling that can be synonymous to the everyday person, rather than the high-level editorial that you see that, you know, 100,000 people want to be that person that is in vogue. Don't get me wrong, I want to be in vogue.
Right.
But when I was starting in the career, I kind of thought, okay, well, if I can make Vancouverites want fashion, then I can make anybody want fashion.
Yeah. I love that about you, because I remember the last time I saw you and we're having conversations, and you speaking at that event, you made it really clear that like you want to like be here and like bring things here. Yeah. And I love that, because it's so rare for people to say that. I feel like everyone's trying to escape this place.
Which I get.
And it's just like, people, can we just stay here and like try to focus maybe a little bit longer?
Because people do want it. There is such a demand, and I think once I started styling, I was like, oh, there's so many people that want access to this and people that want to dress, but the environment that you're raised in really makes you who you are. So when you don't see people being fashionable, when you don't see that creative outlet, it makes you feel like escapism is the only way, when instead the whole point of being a creative is to create.
Yeah.
So if you want something in the city that you feel is bland, then you have to go paint it. You can't just go and paint something that's already been painted,
Right.
or over top of it. So for me, it came down to the point that like I had spent since 18 escaping Vancouver, going to Toronto, Europe, all these different places, and home will always be home, and it'll be the place that grounds you. And I kind of thought, okay, I keep escaping, but I keep going to come back.
Right. Yeah.
So why not just create the thing that I want here and just stay here rather than continue to stay escaping it? Yeah.
So we're just getting into the guidance questions. How does your identity and background influence the way you see style?
Ooh, that's a really great question. That's a really, really great question. I wouldn't say that my culture necessarily influences me as much. There's a lot of beauty and a lot of color and a lot of, just history in being Eritrean and having Eritrean fashion. That is something that I'd love to explore, but I would say my fashion is really a proponent of basic entities. I love quality over quantity. I love being able to maximize 4 pieces into renditions of like up to 20 looks. A lot of the reasons why clients do come back is because my whole perspective is not I want to get the most amount of money from you. I actually want, because sustainability is super big to me. So watching people overconsume and not really feel more fashionable or more creative, it's like sometimes less is more. And maybe in that way my culture influences that, because there is a focus on closeness, community, family, integrity, and loyalty. So in that way, the simplicity that I love in fashion is kind of what brings that all together, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And for KOOMI, I feel like we have the perspective too of conscious luxury. And
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's exactly. I'm speaking my language. Yeah, I love me a Ralph Lauren like vintage piece, because like it's the sustainability and like the quality that was put into clothes before all this fast fashion came into the picture. It's completely different, and I think I'd rather educate on quality, product, material, all of that being an essential part of fashion, not just like this very overly glamorous component to fashion, because there needs to be sustainability in fashion in order for fashion to continue to do what it's doing.
Yeah, that's true. You're being thoughtful about the future and like sustainability is top priority.
It's huge.
So many people in Vancouver live in rain-ready attire and yoga pants.
100%.
Including
Me yourself, I won't even deny it.
When a client comes to you feeling stuck in that cycle, how do you guide them into a style that actually reflects who they are now?
Yeah, I always say that your sense of style is a lot to do with your psychology, and how you feel about clothes, what clothes represent to you, how you feel and experience them is actually a huge part of what convinces you to keep buying what you're buying and what you're not buying. So when it comes to like Vancouver and you want to wear, a little bit more of a put together look, there's no stopping that. Only thing that you have to do is adjust it for weather. So like trench coat, you always need an umbrella. Like
you can say umbrella.
Like that's literally all you need to do. You can still wear the outfit that you want. You just need to make sure that you are. I don't even sometimes you forget your umbrella. Just we're huge for our Terex here, so water resistance, and that's just how you can beat the elements. But I mean, if you love fashion, nothing will stop you from putting a look together. Like I'm gonna be in Toronto in negative 30-degree weather in heels and a skirt. Like when I want to look a specific way and I want to feel a specific way, nothing can stop that.
Yeah. I love that you brought up psychology, because fashion is such an expression. And I really appreciate people that just live through their clothes, as like their identity, and I respect that.
And there's like an extremeness to wanting to control how people dress, because it's a form of expression. And like we see through lots of fashion history that a big component of where we are in fashion today is because of all the groundbreaking things that Black people did in fashion and kind of changing that scheme. So fashion is history, it's psychology, it's, the relation just to your family and what you can and cannot wear there. It's so integral. So making sure that that is understood as a stylist is super important to me, because I never want a client to come into a fitting and feel like they're there for clothes. They need to be there for themselves first, and then the clothes just add an extra layer to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I love that. Like the history, even like, the history of, you probably know about the history of like t-shirts and like, it's like symbolism, right?
It is, yeah.
It's like resistance. And it says a lot.
Yeah, burning clothes too in itself, right? Like burning uniforms and all these different things, like fabric and how fabric is composed and what we're doing in, third world countries.
Yeah.
And just like the devastation that comes with it. Of course, fashion can be really exciting. And I know that like that's what we've been taught through television, but we do also have to be responsible for the things that we do and the decisions that we make. And clothes is the first decision that you can make on a day-to-day basis of how you're guiding your day. Because what's the first thing that you do in the morning? So it goes on. So, that's just your power is in that, and how you feel throughout the day as well.
I love that. A lot of women here are in the space of transition, new city, new job, new season of life. When someone is rewriting their story, where do you start with their wardrobe?
Ooh, so we're talking about like a new entrance wardrobe, something that they're gonna step into because they've been somewhere and like want a fresh start.
Yeah, they want like difference. Maybe they want to like put what they've been doing on the back burner and kind of give me something new.
I always say that less is more again, and I think that if you have a foundational basics to understanding clothes, fit, style, and how it's sitting on your body, you fundamentally will run 1,000 times faster than if you're in this space where you're like, I want something new, I want something different, I want some color, but you don't know how to dress basics yet. So the first and foremost thing that I start in the intro to styling with me is, let's understand your basics. How do your basics sit on your body? Do you have larger chest? Do you not? As you know, because I've styled you, it's so detailed, and I want to know every single component of your body type, so that when we put clothes on you, are we talking about low waist, high waist? Like that all makes a difference, because you can make a basic tee and jeans look incredible in like a new concept, which we see all the time on TikTok, right? Yeah, you see a new model and it's like, whoa, like this new like basic outfit that everybody wants to recreate has nothing to do with it being new or like cool because this girl put it on. It's just because she knows her proportions, and that's why it looks the way that it looks on her. So the first off the get-go is proportions. You need to understand that. And once you understand level one, then jumping into color, jumping into different silhouettes or design structures is really easy, because you know your body first, the proportions that look good on you, and all you have to do now is change up the style.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so process is important.
It's so important. Missy, I'm like I grill it in. I give my eyes. It's super important. Yeah.
I love that. What's one piece of style guidance you give often that usually surprises people?
Oh, don't care about the size. That's a huge one. I tell people all the time, like the last thing you need to think about is the size of something.
Like the size of the clothes that I have to put on.
Yeah, so a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm an extra small, oh, I'm a medium. And then they kind of stick in this framework. And then when I bring in a large, they'll feel a type of way. They'll be like, oh my God, like I can't wear a large. Like that means like I'm getting, and it has nothing to do with it. Sizing is actually a production thing when it comes to fashion. All brands use different sample sizes. They do different heights. Like it is ridiculous to think. And I think even for me, when I was doing fashion, I was so beholden to extra small, like for so little.
Everything that I want everything in that size, and it wouldn't have been a force.
Never bring a medium into the house, because it had like something in my mind was like, oh, a medium is not my size, and I'm not a medium, and it's like this personal thing, and it's not an attack, and it's once you let that go, now like I buy things in large, I buy things in extra small, I buy things in medium, I buy things in like sizes I wouldn't even think of. I never buy jeans at my perfect fit. I always buy them 2 to 4 sizes up, because I know that weight fluctuates. I'm a woman.
Right.
And I think once you accept that, you can really enjoy fashion, because you let go of these like body expectations that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Because the feeling of when you don't fit into the thing, you're like, oh, like, and when you overly don't fit into it, you're also like, so you're not really ever happy as a woman, I would say.
That is the truth.
But, you can get to a place where clothes don't need to fit you, you need to fit your clothes. I think it's like a really profound thing. I think with letting it go, because you wouldn't step into the world of larges if you were always in this mindset. And sometimes the way that a look should look is that it needs to be a large, and it's not supposed to be an extra small look, like you're suffocating, you know? So that is something that's huge, and I think that is something that's really special to me, because when I see that transformation in it always makes me emotional, because it's like, as women, we're held to such a high standard that once you can let that go, you can see the transformation in the fashion quite quickly. So let go of sizing, let go of what you think you're supposed to be, and just try things on. You never know till you try.
Yeah. Like, so many people need to hear that.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that. It's like so good.
Yeah, and it has nothing to even do about like feeling transformed. It has everything to do with the fact that, you know, we're taught one way, and sometimes we just need to challenge our perception. Sometimes you need to go into the men's section. But even the idea of women and men's clothing, like a t-shirt is a t-shirt, right? Like, you know, so just go into the men's section. You'd be surprised how well made men's clothing is. Like, if we're going to talk about fashion, and that is a hill I will die on, because like women's fashion is so in the realm of fast fashion. It's floating all the time. But if you want quality, like a lot of the time men's clothing, because it's not as a vicious cycle in the fashion cycle, they take more time, they compose it better, shirts fit better. Like, there's a reason, because men just don't really care as much.
Yeah.
So I always tell women, I'm like, go in there, because like you'd be surprised, like the difference between the blazer that you have and the blazer that's in the men's section, material and composition and build, is completely different. So so just get explorative and like try to go to different, you know, stop going to the same place all the time. Like, try and experiment, because fashion is all about that. It's not about, you know, fitting into the right thing and looking a certain way, but we're told that our whole lives.
Now, open up our mind.
Our minds and hearts.
Yes, heart. That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, so some questions about beauty-related questions. How has living between nature, new condos, and very casual Vancouver streetwear shaped your eye for beauty?
Oh, nature for sure. I feel like I'm always coming back for that. I don't think there's really anything more beautiful than Vancouver. Like, you get so much of that beauty in nature. And also just, I know we're not known for the best people, but I think the people here are great. Like, you know, they all just want this space. They all just feel very uncomfortable to do so. So it creates this weird, like, you know, like side eye where you're like, oh, her outfit's really cute, but I can't say anything because it's like, you know, whereas in Toronto, you walk down the street and like if you're strutting and you put on a good outfit, like 100 people will honk at you and someone will come up to you. And I think that's just what the energy that Vancouver needs. And I think the nature harmonizes us quite a bit and makes us very neutral and calm.
Yeah.
So just that, I think for me, like the calmness of Vancouver has allowed me to exist in places like New York and Toronto in peace and serenity, and I wouldn't have been able to get that if I hadn't been from Vancouver. So there are some pros for Vancouver, you know? Yeah.
Lots of pros.
Yeah, lots of pros. I like to rep my city.
Yeah,
as much as I do, yeah.
It's worried that many more people like you, hey. Okay. In 2026, social media is loud, trends move fast, and aesthetics are recycled constantly. How do you help clients move from what looks good online to what feels beautiful on one's actual body and lifestyle?
For sure. I think the first thing I always tell clients is I always say, like, send me an inspo. And the inspo will actually tell me a lot more about the client than the psychology. Yeah, going back to psychology, than the actual thing that they want. Because, so I'll give you an example. A client of mine came in, they said, I really want to elevate my looks. I want to start fresh. I want everything out of my closet cleared out. And then they would send me their inspo and what they eventually want to get to with, like, for this one, it was a personal shopping experience. And it was like gowns and dresses and all these things that were just like upper echelon. And to me, that signaled this person wants to feel expensive. This person doesn't really want to start fresh.
Right.
They want to feel something before they actually are looking for clothes, and they're looking to feel the thing from clothes. Because if you're starting fresh, you're not starting off with like dresses. And, you know, you're starting off with basics, and you're starting off with, you know, reconstruction of your foundation.
Yeah.
So understanding that, so feeling confident. So then with that kind of client, you want to understand like bringing in basics, but then also bringing in elements that are going to feel luxurious. So upping the experience on making sure things are like 100% cotton, 100% silk, like giving them the feeling of luxury, yes, because that's what they want to feel. And then being ethical about like, okay, this person clearly has the budget. So I could have done the whole like the 9 yards and just given her like going out tops and all these things. But I have to understand that what she's looking for is a feeling, and I have to supply that with the clothes. So we started off with that, with the feeling of the clothes, just that amount, like how it felt on her skin, and then we built up from there and went into like going out clothes and that, and then she felt like there was a lot of intention put into that whole experience because she was like, you know, you could have just brought me like all these really cool, most expensive things that I could find, but you know, you have to listen to what people want and what they actually need. You know, you have to have the discernment to be able to get that, because it's really easy as a stylist to be like, yeah, that will cost you this and I will get you exactly what something, what does you want. But
what you want.
But a lot of the time it's like what they're showing you is what they want to feel, not sit on having their closet.
Yeah, that's great. The like sensory things.
Yeah, the sensory things changed. Yeah, because sometimes you'll feel it and then you're like, wow, like, and that's what clothes is supposed to make you feel. Like you're supposed to feel so comfortable that you don't even realize ideally you're wearing any.
Yeah. So at KOOMI, we believe in intentionality. What does conscious luxury look like in a wardrobe for you, especially for someone who wants quality but also has a real budget? I know we almost kind of answered that. We asked a question, but if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I would say thrift. I think that thrift is something that is so underlooked, and I am always advocating for thrifting to also be seen as luxury. This is vintage Ralph Lauren, this is vintage, my entire look is vintage. It's down to my shoes. You really couldn't even tell, you know? So the reason I say that is because, again, it goes back to production and what we're doing in terms of the fashion world. We're not building clothes the way that we used to. So to me, luxury means that it lasts forever, that it tests the moment of time, and that it can be roughed up and bullied and put through a lot, and it still looks brand new. And to me, that is what luxury means. Luxury doesn't mean like, you know, the luxury brands that we talk about. To me, luxury is, can you sustain time? Can you look beautiful over time? And the wear that you do, you know, the wear that does occur on clothes, does it actually look better over time? Which is a huge thing, right? So I have a really different definition of luxury, because I think that what's the point of buying something that's 100% polyester, but the logo is really great? To me, it's like quality over quantity always. So for me, thrifting is a big one. The thrifting game is completely different than what it used to be. It's about to be like a $9 billion industry. So there's something to.
So that's
clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, just in that sector alone, like that, we need to be utilizing our great grandma's closet, because that's the best stuff, right? So things that stand the test of time, so what I'm trying to say, is the best thing that you could own, and is a testament to luxury. Same thing with diamonds, same thing with things that we like consider. It's just because it tests.
Yeah.
No?
Like length of time value.
Exactly.
Okay. And our next few questions are in the belonging category.
Okay.
Clothes help decide how we enter rooms. How do you use styling to help your clients feel like they belong in the spaces they're stepping into, you know, meetings, brunches, creative events here in Vancouver?
Yeah, my favorite line from a client, lo and behold, is actually like, I would have never worn this. It's just so funny. You know, it's like you obviously want to hear like, oh my God, I love it. But my favorite thing a client will say is, oh my God, I would have never put this on myself, but I love it. Because now you've just entered them into a completely new realm that they would have never seen themselves in. So if they can see themselves as, oh, I would have never seen myself as this person in this outfit, then when they walk into those rooms, they're a completely new, different, like they are a completely different person because of that experience of that in the fitting room. So I think when we can experience new feelings, new senses of confidence, and new desires for ourselves within the clothes that we put on that would have not been in our typical closet or would have not been in our typical shopping experience, but because you brought in a stylist, now you get to experience that. There is literally nothing more beautiful to me than experiencing that with a client. So that's something I do to help them enter rooms and feel really great because they're in new pieces and different things they wouldn't have put on themselves. And another one is just, you know, dressing for success. I say all the time, like, there's a period where I worked from home and I still got dressed up because the way that you dress is so correlated to like the energy that you have about like how productive you're gonna be about the day and what you're gonna pursue. And if you're in a suit, like your shoulders brought in, or you tighten up a little bit. And if you're in a dress, you feel a little sexier. So you really need to put the investment in, because again, like we said, the first thing that we start up our day is putting our pants on, putting our shirt on. But depending on what kind of shirt and what kind of pants you put on will actually like determine the rest of your day and how you move in spaces.
Yeah, so powerful.
Yeah.
So or do you identify with black? Okay.
That's a question that is so valid. I think that like
Because I have like black, indigenous, person of color, and I'm just like, hey, what am I doing?
I'm all three.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's such an interesting question. Black is, I don't know, like, I'm African, so
Right.
it's weird for me because, like, because black to me is stereotypically associated with Black American culture, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you grew up in America, you have a significantly better understanding of what it is to be Black in America.
Right.
But I grew up in Africa, so it's very different, and there's not a lot of sociological things that I relate to when it comes to like Black America. That to me is Black American is what I think of. It's probably like super political, but thanks. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I mean at the end of the day, like, am I gonna be understood as a Black woman? Probably. So either or. It doesn't matter to me. What do I relate to the most? I would say I relate to being African the most. But yeah, sure, like.
Okay, so
I love being African. I love being Black. Like, I love it all. It's just
so as an African stylist, what does belonging in the fashion industry look like for you right now?
It's interesting. And again, because of my entrance into the fashion world and creative world a little bit later than most, or maybe I know a lot of people grew up convicted to be a creative, convicted to be in fashion and to do these things. I think I grew up in the opposite, where I don't have that same level of I have the same level of conviction to pursue it, but I think it's not necessarily tied to my identity as much because I just started it really last year, you could say. It's always been a part of my life, my day-to-day routine, but to pursue it as a career, it's definitely been the last year. So for me, it's interesting. I feel like I'm very neutral. I'm always entering spaces to learn. I think because sometimes I feel like, not an imposter because I do feel like I belong there, but I feel different. So I'm always there, not silent, but expressive of who I am, but also kind of having the respect of the space to understand that there are people here who have known since I was 3 years old, or so to allow that information to come to me and be absorbed, and then from there utilize that information to the best that I can in the spaces that I step into as a creative.
Okay. If you were to imagine a KOOMI woman as a client walking into your styling session, what do you want her to feel by the time she leaves?
Peace. I think we all need peace. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we all can relate to the experience of going shopping and it just being like, God, I want to get out of here. You know, like it's become, such an overwhelming experience, such a like chaotic, like you can just feel your heart racing, just trying to get the item and trying to leave. And the changing rooms being such a space of like insecurity and trying to put things on and like go in the mirror. We all know the brand I'm talking about. I promote there. Yes, exactly. So it's like there are things that I want to do for a client that makes them feel peaceful, that they can change comfortably. So whenever we do a styling session, I always try to get them a private fitting room if I can and try to make the space as comfortable as I can. And eventually when we get like a production space, then obviously just tailor making it there and just having like photography right then and there available. So peace, because like I think we all deserve to feel peaceful when we're trying and experimenting.
Yeah, and I feel like the viewers would really appreciate that because the whole process of like putting on clothes, we're discussing sizing,
and it's a workout. It's a literal workout putting clothes on.
Sure.
Sometimes like I'll have like a bunch of things in my change room and then I put this one tight thing on, taking it off, and I'm like, you know what, like everything goes off. I'm going home, like, so you kind of want it to be like I always say to clients, I'm like, I want you to feel like you're with your friend. That this is experience where it's like not tactical. Now you do have to be at the end, but like, you know, it's still an experience for you to kind of just enjoy yourself, both men and women.
I definitely felt that working with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was so nice, honestly. Here are some rapid fire and some closing questions for you. 3 pieces you think almost every woman in a city like Vancouver should invest in to instantly elevate her wardrobe.
Ooh, a great pair of denims, 100%. A great pair of boots, like a great pair of high heel boots. And for top, I would say a nice silhouette top. Something airy, something cooling, something that fits relaxed.
Okay, cool. Take notes, Pete. Okay, first thing you notice about someone's outfit when they walk into a room.
Oh, I look at proportions right away. Like literally, I'm like, wow.
The most?
Because you would be surprised. Like you probably would do the same thing too, but you don't see it the same way I do. Like when you look at someone, you're like, wow, that outfit is amazing. But it's just because it looks amazing on the body, right? That's what it is really at the end of the day. It's how it looks on the body. And when I see somebody walk in and I see like their hands are perfectly elevated to like their top and they're using the proportions right, everyone thinks I'm like 6 foot. Because of how I dress and the proportions that I use. So even height, using height catfish all the time. Because I'm like, I want to be able to see it. No, I'm like 5'2". So, but like a lot of people perceive that, and it's just because of the proportions that I wear. So that's something I look at right away, where I'm like, okay, what makes this person's outfit look amazing? It's probably their proportions and how they've dressed themselves.
Yeah, that actually like makes a lot of sense because, you know, like, I don't know if you've heard this, but people like actors on TV, they apparently look larger than or taller than they actually are in person. Like most of the time you meet them and they're like fairly shorter than you were expecting. And it's probably because they have stylists fitting them for proper clothing and like everything is like curated well.
Yeah, there's nothing in my closet that hasn't been altered or augmented in some type of way, because it's not that the objective is the clothing to fit me perfectly, but it's to fit my body to the degree that it wants. I'm shorter, so me always hemming my pants and fitting my waist will always make me look 10 times better. Even though I'm wearing a trench coat, a light tank top, jeans, you'll look at me and be like, wow, she looks amazing, even though the outfit's really basic, because the time and the effort has been taken to put the proportions into play properly.
One quiet luxury item you think is actually worth investing in?
One quiet item that I think... Say the question.
One quiet luxury item you think is actually worth investing?
Oh, a jacket for sure. The perfect me budget. Yeah, and a nice expensive wool.
Does it need to be expensive?
Yeah, doesn't need to be expensive. But like if it's luxury, yeah.
And a jacket?
Yeah, nowadays not as much, but yeah, you want to look for material. So I think if you're looking for a luxury feel and a luxury, you know, there are lots of companies that make super luxury things at a price point that's fair. Because they care about the fabric. So before you care about luxury, care about fabric. So a really nice trench coat, ideally wool with a silk or satin underlay, you will always look amazing if you have a nice trench coat.
Aren't you bought one recently? Yeah, I'm still happy about my.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met any client that has been upset about a trench coat that they bought. Yeah, so that's a key item for sure.
Okay, finish this sentence. I feel most like myself when I'm wearing.
Ooh, a really nice Ralph Lauren outfit.
Ralph Lauren.
All the way. I feel like when I'm in head to toe Ralph Lauren, just because the material, the composition, the history of the brand matches. It matches like the essence of what I'm trying to build. So just very clean, quiet, simple is always my forte. I could do the whole editorial thing, but I feel most grounded and most at home when things feel simple and beautiful.
Okay, final question. Where can people find and connect with you?
On Instagram, at Honey Martinez 1 at G. Oh, and that's my email.
No, I think
you could also.
O2?
I think so.
I don't
know. I was literally giving my email. That's how business forward I am. I'm like, that's where you can contact me. But yes, Instagram Honey Martinez 02, and then TikTok same handle.
Oh, okay,
yeah, they're kind of super easy.
Well, we'll add your links to the video.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy. I know, I'm happy too.
And I'm so excited to see everything that you're doing.
I know, and hopefully it's to be bold and good in the next couple months.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't expect
anything else. That's a no there.
No pressure.